Okay, in this important lesson, I want to explain the important swimming tool of the software. The swimming tool is very important. We can connect and swim the pattern to each other. For example, we have this pattern here, and I want to explain how to swing. The tools is here. This is an edit swing. If you edit them, we have two tools: segment swing, M to N segment swing. We have a free swing and M to M swing, and the checker of the swimming length if you want. And as you can see, we have 4 tools here, and exactly 4 tools, except the checker is in 2D, and we have an auto swimming that I explained them in a separate lesson. Here we have exactly the swimming tool in a 3D and a 2D. The interesting of this software is that you can directly swimming the pattern in a 3D and a 2D. They are exactly the same. We first select the segment swing, and as you can see, it's automatically detected the segments and swimming to each other. First, you have to go into the, for example, I want to swim in this segment to exactly this segment. Click the first segment, and then it's locked there. And then going to the another segment, exactly as mentioned to this line here. It means you have to go to corresponding part of it. If you go in this part, the segment, as you can see in the 3D, you can see it in a 3D. Interesting. You twist the swimming, and it's very bad. As you can see, if you go in here, it's very bad. If you want to edit or the segment, you have to go to the edit and then right click on a segment that you want. And here we have a special tool for swimming. For example, a reverse swimming. We have a reverse swimming. You can right click and reverse them again to make them corresponding to each other here. Okay, now we first swing two segments to each other. Okay, if you simulate they're connecting to each other, but they are thrown down because we have a gravity. Select here, right click, go into the simulation properties. As I said before, the gravity, I make it 0. When I simulate it, as you can see, they are connecting to each other because of we are swimming. We have no gravity. Okay, but if you want to see the swimming, you have to go here and select show swimming. Now you can show you. If you want to edit your swimming, you have to go to the edit mode of the swimming and then switch this swing part here. Then right click. If you make it reverse suddenly, if you simulate, as you can see, we have a bad simulation for swing there. So it's very important that make them corresponding to each other. Going exactly another tool with a segment, and it does not important you have to exactly in a equal length. For example, you can swing this short length to that long length, but in this case we make the puckering effect here. Going to the edit swimming, and you can select it in a right click, or you can hit delete and delete it. Or if you don't want to delete that, you can temporarily deactivate the swimming. If you deactivate it, it turns to the light gray or white. But if you hit simulate, as you can see, they are not swimming to each other, but the other segments will be swimming. And in this, when you swimming the short part to the long part, we can simulate the puckering or pleats effects. Okay, this is first tool of segment swing. It's very easy. But if you want to swimming multi-segment to the another multi-segment, you have to use M to N segments. It's very easy. As you can see in the mouse, you can see it say select the segment to being M, first, second, third, or any segment to the M part, and then hit enter. And says you please select corresponding segment to swimming to. As you can see, you can click on another corresponding segment and swimming to each other. You can, for example, segment, and then you can press enter. Okay, as you can see, it automatically try to segment all of the part to each other if you are in a different length or something. You can swing. You can go into the edit and click and drag and delete them. For example, if you have more segments, it does not concern, you can segment any swing, but pay attention to its corresponding points. Do not, for example, click here, we have a bad segment. It's important to select in a one direction, and then you can go and select in any direction that you want. But I forget, as you can see, I forget to enter. Okay, I forget to enter. You can escape it, and as you can see, we select in a one direction of all the segments. Look at this line here, and don't forget to enter, and then you can select another part to another segment to swimming. As you can see, we swimming 4 part to 3 part, and it automatically create a connection between the and calculate the segments. Okay, you can, as you can see, select the segment. In a previous lesson, I mentioned that the difference between the green, dark point, that are the segments, and the red point. If you go into the edit curve point, as you can see in this ellipse, we have a lots of red point that they are not a segment, they are just controlling the curvature of the this pattern. Okay, and as you can see, if you go into the swimming, it does not recognize them as a segment. You have to go in here and add a point. For example, here at a point, and after that, if you go into the swimming, it recognizes it as a segment. It does not recognize the red dots as the curve point as a segment. It's very important. And for example, you can select here to swimming. If you go into the edit, and for example, you can click and drag. It's very interesting. You can click and drag and change the area of the swimming and two segments. An interesting part is here. If we have a part to swimming, for example, this part to this part, if you click and drag to edit the swimming area, as you can see, we have a dot here. These dots show us that it is the exactly area in this area. Okay, as you can see, it's defined that, for example, this area is exactly corresponding of point is here. You can snap it to the, and you can make sure that you swimming the exact length to the exact length of that area. Okay, for example, we have a lot of swimming here, and here you can check swimming length. As you can see, if you these red dots means that we have 10% of exact swimming length. For example, it means in this centimeter here we have not exactly. For example, these parts are more than we have more length of another part. If in a real swimming, if you swimming a long part to the short part, we can simulate the Parkering effect if you want. But if you select the exact length to the exact length, we have a equal spacing swimming. Okay, this is not just checker. You can check it our problems. Another interesting swimming is free. You can go to the edit, click and drag, and delete all of them. It's a free. It's very interesting. Here we have a free swimming. You can click and then click define the second click, define the first part, and then don't need to be select any enter. And after that, as you can see, this point is show you that if you want to exact length of the first part, you can snap it, or you can go further that, and you can freely select the area, in which part do you want to select it. Interesting thing is that you can directly zooming in 3D, and here but and different between 2D and 3D is in the most says you please double click to complete the first length, double click, and then you can go, oh sorry, zooming, and then select it here. I think click, and then click and drag it here. Okay, and you have to double click here to complete it. Okay, for example, here if you want to zoom in this part, we have to go into the, for example, segment. Here you can select it and then select it automatically, but in a 2D it's very easier to zoom in exact part. For example, if you are in a free, you can select and select. You have to double click, you have to click here to finish it, and then again to zoom in. If you want to complete it, you can double click it again, select it, and then go into the free and another zooming. You can, so exactly these buttons are in a 3D, and you can zoom in exactly in 3D. Of course, we have M2M free zooming, but I suggest you to zooming in 2D. It's very straightforward. Instead of 3D, sometimes it may cause you zooming a wrong edges to each other and cause a problem. Okay, it's exactly free. You can freely select any. Here you can select any edges to zooming any edges that you want. M edge, M segment, then enter to the N segment of the zooming if you want. Okay, I will give you lots of example in the next lessons. Don't worry, I just want to explain these zooming tools. Okay, you can go to the edit them. Can click and drag the point. We have a right click, deactivated, or if you want to hide them, if you want to don't see them, you can hide, show, or hide them here. You have to go in, you have to exit the edit mode to activate it, or you have to go to the edit, and then you can show all zooming to bring back this hide. You can right click and delete zooming, reverse, and I will explain other settings in another lesson. Hello my friends, to continue these tutorials on YouTube, subscribe us, like us, and hit the bell icon. And now you will be alerted about all of the amazing videos that we release.